Your love is the best part, love is the best part. Your love is the best part, love is the best part. Even if it all falls apart, your love is the best part, love is the best part.
Marrying Roger, all right, knowing I said yes to Roger and the lifestyle that he lived and us being part of House of Prayer and living off missionary support, I really didn't know what to expect. I really didn't have high expectations other than I expected him to know me, and I expected him to know the things I liked, what I didn't like. Don't wake me up and don't talk to me early in the morning. Let me wake up. And which was so like, he wakes up and he's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, please just leave me alone. Let me just gather my thoughts for a second. So
yeah, I think that what I expected the first year was a woman that was going to totally understand me. That was pretty high up there. And so I really got offended when she didn't know me. I think it's the same thing. Yeah. It's funny. You're going to be understanding. If I make a mistake, you're going to be understanding. If I want this, you're going to know. You're going to... Yeah,
and tell us, what was your living situation? What was going on with you guys at that time?
So I do not recommend this to anybody, obviously, unless the Lord tells you, which the Lord told us. So we were living in community at Justice House of Prayer in San Diego with the leaders of the House of Prayer and a couple of our interns. So newly married in a small little bedroom and no bathroom to ourselves, which was a big issue for me. So it was interesting. We lived in a fishbowl and it was hard. And when we would disagree or when we didn't understand one another, we had to work it out. Figuring each other out, getting to know each other, because we didn't know each other really when we got married.
It's like 6 months. From the time that we met to the time we were married was 9 months.
Yeah, wow.
Not very long. Mm-mm. Yeah.
So
we didn't know each other.
And granted, like I got married right before I turned 27, so I'm a little older. Roger's older than me, so we kind of already set in our ways a little bit, and it clashed often and often in front of people. Nice. And Roger definitely kept up his end of the bargain and led us to the cross most of the time, more than I ever did. But
someone told us early in our marriage, right before we got married actually, the first one to the cross wins. And that was the key. I knew that if we say sorry, then we're going to be okay, especially if we go to Jesus. And so it was a key for us to walk humbly, and be understanding to each other.
And I think really, like our first year, because we didn't really know each other, like he didn't know what I considered being loved as. Mm-hmm. So when I didn't feel loved, I'd be hurt and I'd be upset. And then when I didn't know how he receives respect. So when I didn't give him the respect that he feels he needed,
it was a pretty intense environment. And needless to say, I didn't take a vow to not eat meats or sweets because it was part of us connecting, and being together. So
it was already so intense that it's like I needed to get away, and I wanted to feel normal and eat hamburgers. And
we bought SeaWorld tickets, not because we had kids, but so that we would take a break away from J-Hop and go to SeaWorld and eat a hamburger and watch shows, drink coffee. And I think that was actually one of the saving graces for our marriage, was our SeaWorld tickets that we got.
That's awesome.
It was just the weirdest time to try to because we could cry out. We were part of a movement, so the movement swept us together. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But when it came time to we're going to pray to start our day, it was so weird and awkward the first times trying to do that. She didn't know what to say. I honestly didn't know what to say, so I'd be maybe sometimes and she's silent. I'm thinking, hey, come on, let's do this.
Like I could really picture it.
Actually, I have a pretty clear visual, and I'm pretty sure I can imagine exactly what that looked like.
So we were in San Diego at the J-Hop there. We had a series of dreams, and Lou Engle decides to raise up the call again in Nashville in 2007. And we really felt it, that we were supposed to go and help him lead the 40 days fasting and prayer, doing the night watch before the call. And so the Lord just told us, pack everything up, go to Nashville, and in 40 days, I'll tell you where you're going to live from there. So we did that, and we're in Nashville praying for a new sound to be released. And long story short, we end up becoming the new leaders of J-Hop San Francisco. And so Roger and I get sent to San Francisco to go lead a community there and recruit new people to pray and live in community. And so we lived in this flat on Haight Street.
At one point, we had like 7 or 8, and then it became 18. Mm-hmm. We were leading a team of 18 people, and we were like 6-7 months married. It was not very long that we were married.
No.
So
yeah. 7 months
intense.
married, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what happened was suddenly I was tired of having to, sounds really practical, but having to put a bra on when I had to go to the bathroom, or put a robe on and make, I couldn't just live. I couldn't just, go get a drink of water. I had to be mindful that there were men in the house and there were single women. And so we had to, consciously be aware of it. So there was, back and forth. And, as a woman, I started feeling like it would be nice to have my own place, my own house, decorate it the way I want to decorate it. Not feeling like I'm intruding on somebody or they're intruding on me. Having to feel agitated because someone's always in my mix, or thinking I have the house to myself and there's always somebody there. We all felt that, at times. So.
Yeah.
So then you get pregnant.
So then I get pregnant. And at this time, I just start losing grace for being in community, living in a cold house and bathrooms not properly working, black mold growing in one of the bathrooms, and wondering why people are getting sick all the time. Well, now we know. And our landlord not really doing anything about it. So this, I say, this is the event that I knew that I could trust Roger to lead us, really, to lead me and eventually lead our family. He was planning a major event, and he decided at this point to lay it down.
So we were planning a 10-day event in San Francisco that was going to cost, I think, like $100,000 or something ridiculous. And we were in the planning stage of the meeting with you. Jake was there.
Well.
Nikki was there. Anyways, so we were actually,
we do it together.
We were in the planning stage, and we were just about to. They had notebooks out, and we were making this happen, and and then someone asked, "Yeah, bro, well, what do you feel about it?" And to my shock and horror, it's like the worst thing I ever want to happen. She just starts to cry and say, "I don't have any faith for it." And the person that asked was a spiritual father. And he was a guy that we trusted. And so when my wife melted down, then, you want to say something?
Well, I do want to say this, because the reason why I didn't want to say, I kept my mouth shut, and the reason why, the whole time they're planning and he's talking about this, and I don't want to crush his heart and his dream and tell him, I don't want to do this. I feel like I don't have faith for this. Where are we going to get this money? It's going to come on us, and we're about to have a baby, and this is crazy. We already have to move, and it's expensive to live in San Francisco, and where are we coming up with all this? And so I realized I was shoving it down a religious hole, saying, I can't keep my husband from his calling. I can't let it be known that I don't want to do this because then I'm dishonoring God and the call of God on his life. And I'm not loving and feeling, not realizing that really I wasn't loving myself, nor loving our family, nor gauging where our family needed to be at that time. When he decided, like, I'm going to lay it down because I'm going to love you. And you may not have this faith for it, but I'm going to trust God. He's going to bring it back someday. I knew, like, I could follow him because I knew that anytime I said, I can't do this anymore, I know that he's committed to me and my family and to lead us to know God and love God rather than just do something for God, but that we would know God and be known by him. So
I think the roughest part of that for me was being stripped of ambition. I realized in a minute how much ministry ambition was there. And I realized, like, it just humbled my heart that I even had a wrestle of whether I was going to fight for my wife's heart or whether I was going to fight for ministry ambition. And the event had great vision, and I had already talked to friends about it, and they, so when I made that choice, it was like a death, and we ended up laying down the whole Justice House of Prayer. So for me as a man, it felt good to say I'm Lou Engle's son, and here's what I have to prove it. I'm leading J-Hop San Francisco. And so laying that down, that was hard. You know, we ended up moving to Phoenix, Arizona, which was literally a desert. You know, my wife was watching Say Yes to the Dress and Gilmore Girls seasons, you know, and I'm dying. And I ended up getting a job sanding burrs off tank parts at a temporary position. You know, it was a temp agency, they were building tanks for the government. Anyways, it was just random thing. I'll never forget the pain of talking to Sean, my buddy Sean Foyt, on the phone, and him calling and saying, hey man, call me back, I'm on lunch break, and then telling him about me building tanks. I'm no longer leading J-Hop, but I'm serving my family. And I think it was like for like $7 an hour too. It was like something brutal. But it was because my wife came to me in tears and said, Roger, we've got to do something. We've got to have money for our family. And for some of those people that I had planned the event with, they totally didn't get it. You know, they thought, man, Roger, you're being a flake. You're not keeping your word. And I knew in my heart, and that hurt too as a man, because it's like, I'm not keeping my word, but I knew in my heart that I was fighting for my wife. I knew that I was fighting for my family. So then I have a jab from a friend, and that was one of the more ruthless things on my heart. But in the midst of that, God told me, son, I never hired you. You're my son anyways. And really that was a foundation of me and Gabrielle even becoming closer. You know, we fell in love with each other. I talk about the Say Yes to the Dress times, but we did fall in love with each other more as a child was being formed in her womb. And it was like a rescue thing from the Lord to rescue us and rescue our marriage. And I'm grateful for a father that would say that. I would hate from the beginning for you to sacrifice your family on the altar of ministry. And
people were expecting him to be this king, and like really, like in it all, like you laid down your identity and you laid down friendships, being misunderstood because you followed through with the vows that we had made. You kept your word to me. And I think that's why I know, like, I can go anywhere with you, because I know you'll keep your vows with me. For better or worse, rich or poor, working and standing off burr parts on tanks.
I mean, that was the trigger for us doing this, is that we're running into so many men in ministry who have made ministry, they're keeping, it's exactly what you said. They're keeping their vows and covenants to ministry and to a calling that will disappear instead of the covenant they said they'd have unto death. And so they're giving up their vows to their family and to their wives. And I just feel like what you're sharing is just so, that is the story.
Yeah.
That's what we want to share.
Yeah.
Like, that's the question. Was it worth that to you?
Are you kidding?
That sounds like a stupid question.
Right.
But there's 1,000 people
It
that
was
are building their
absolutely
thing.
worth it. And I'll tell you, the reason why is because my wife trusts me. She trusts my heart. You know, and I don't know what happened along the way for her to not trust my heart. But at that moment, when she knew that I was willing to lay it down, I feel this trust that my wife has. And it's, you know what, it's not like all of a sudden that was the epic moment either, like where the cross is done. No, I also stuck a stake in the ground that said, this will be how I live. Not only will I live at this moment, but this will be the way that I live my life. I will always fight for my wife, and I will choose this more than I choose whatever thing it is in ministry. And I think that, by God's grace, helped me too. So yes, it was worth it because it gave me ability for now. You know, it doesn't mean it's not hard at times, but worth it, yes. I'm in love with my wife.
Well, this is what I want to say. What it did for me was not cut him and control him, but what it did to me was when I asked him, Roger, do you have faith you can do this? Do you have faith God's going to do this? Like, we could do this together? And if he says yes, I'm in. I will do it. If he wants to lead this event that's going to cost $100,000 and he really feels it in his heart, yes, I'll do it, because that's what made me trust him. It's not like I want to manipulate you and control you. I'll follow him in ministry choices now, or whatever it is, like he feels like we're called to walk into when I can't see clearly. You know, I can share my heart, but there's something that inside I feel like there's shelter there and there's protection, because no matter what, he's going to protect my heart and our family, you know.
Even if it all falls apart, your love is the best part. Love is the best part. Your love is the best part. Love is the best part.